Students, now we are in question number 43. Okay, so you can see in this question that 20,000 number of shares were actually issued by the company. Okay, and we received the application on 30,000 number of shares, so which means 10,000 is extra number of shares. Okay, so that on that 10,000 extra, 6,000 shares were rejected. Okay, so 6,000 applications were rejected by the company and the money is refunded. So you can see here in this particular entry here, bank account debit 6,000 into 5 rupees. Okay, because application money was rupees 5 per share. Okay, including premium of rupees 2. Okay, so premium money is already received here. Okay, so this 6,000 number of shares, they were rejected. Okay, and extra number of shares, you can see here how many number of shares are extra here: 24 and 20. 24 minus 20, how much? 4,000 number of shares. So here you can see the extra is 4,000 number of shares. Okay, that is in surplus extra. So these money, okay, these number of shares were actually based on pro rata basis. That is, whenever the application excess application money is received, okay, on those number of shares, so such money is actually adjusted towards allotment money. Okay, so you can see here 4,000. Okay, that extra number of shares, okay, that extra number of shares, you can see here 4,000 shares into 5 rupees because application money was received. Okay, extra. So 4,000 into 5, that is 20,000. So this 20,000 is adjusted towards share allotment account. Okay, this is called pro rata allotment. Okay, whenever you make allotment to the number of shares, okay, when you have more application. Okay, so application is received for 24,000 number of shares, but you are making allotment for 20,000 number of shares, so 4,000 is extra number of shares. Okay, but in the previous question, okay, question number 42, we had refunded the entire money on this extra number of shares also. Why? Because allotment money was already received. Okay, so if you look at the question number 42, application money and allotment money was received at the same time. Okay, but here in this particular question number 43, allotment money is received afterwards. Okay, so when you receive the application on 40,000, sorry, 30,000 number of shares, the entry will be this: bank account debit to share application 30,000 number of shares into rupees 5. Okay, including premium of rupees 2 per share. Okay, so 1,50,000. Okay, now next is share application account debit. Okay, this share application will be debited here. Okay, and we are refunding money on 6,000 number of shares. Okay, and here also you can see that we had issued 20,000 number of shares, so 20,000 into 3. Why 20,000 into 3? Because it is actually for your equity share capital account, which doesn't include SPR. Okay, so SPR should be separated. Okay, here, so 20,000 into 2, because whenever you transfer the money to equity share capital account, premium money is always not counted here. Okay, so it has to be adjusted separately. Okay, you have to make the adjustment separately. So 20,000 number of shares are being allotted. Okay, and application money is rupees 3 per share. Okay, and this 2 rupees is per sorry, is your uh, premium money. Okay, so the extra number of shares that we had here, okay, 4,000 number of shares, okay, on which application money was received extra, right? So that will be adjusted towards your share allotment. Okay, so this is your second entry. So please try to understand the entries here very nicely, because it is going to be important. Okay, this is what we have to understand. Okay, so these first and second entries you have to pass. Okay, if you have not understood this entries, okay, please start the video from beginning. Okay, do not move forward. Okay, so once you have understood this, then now you can move forward. Okay, so allotment money will be due on 20,000 number of shares. Okay, so allotment money will be due here. Okay, so share allotment account debit to equity share capital account, 20,000 into 4 will be 80,000. Okay, but here we can see calls in area. Now here is calls in area, so you have to worry about this particular calls in area. Okay, but how can we make this kind of entry? Okay, so you have to make the working note, because you can see here that Vishal, who had applied for 600 number of shares, failed to pay the allotment money, which means Vishal, who had applied for 600 number of shares, failed to pay the allotment money. So always the calls in area is on allotted number of shares. So we know number of shares applied, but we don't know how many number of shares were allotted. Now we will use that formula. Number of shares allotted is equals to total number of shares allotted by total number of shares applied into number of shares applied. So this is your formula. Okay, I don't know whether this formula is given in the book or not. Okay, so if you want to write the formula, you can write it. Okay, maybe the formula is not given in the book, or I don't know, because I don't have the book only. So just go through this. Okay, and for number of shares applied, there is a this this is only the formula, but there will be some changes here. Okay, minor changes. So applying this formula, okay, we can see number of shares is 500 number of shares. Okay, and whenever you see this total number of shares allotted and total number of shares applied, only and only apply this formula for these figures, okay, on which you are having pro rata basis. Do not do apply on this kind of total number of figures. Okay, apply on those number of figures where you can see the pro rata adjustment. Okay, so this way we can see that on 500 number of shares, we had this kind of calls in area. Okay, but you should know that out of 80,000, 20,000 has been already adjusted. Okay, that's why we are writing here share in this share allotment 60,000. Okay, so when you have this kind of adjustment, when allotment money is already adjusted with the excess application money received, don't write it here 80,000 again. Why? Because 20,000 shares, sorry, 20,000 money is already adjusted with 80,000. So that's why we are having this value 60,000. Okay, so 80,000 minus 20 is 60. Okay, now calls in area is from 60,000, not from 80,000. Okay, always remember that. So how do we make this adjustment? How do we come to know? Okay, so this is the working note that I prefer to have this. Okay, because this kind of working note is very much universal. Okay, in every situation this working note will work. Okay, be it any situation, this kind of working note will function. Okay, but after talking to the author, I have come to know this, that he is working as per this method. Okay, so be it this method or this method, whatever the method you feel okay, you can make the adjustment. Okay, but I want to show you that if you follow this particular method, you will have problem. Okay, in some questions. Okay, in some later questions, we may have to face this kind of question. Maybe in question number 44, you will face this kind of problem. Okay, if you follow this method. Okay, so let me first explain you this method only, whatever has been used by the author. Okay, so author, as per author, okay, uh, he is making this way. Okay, excess application money is received 20,000. Okay, you can see in the second entry here 20,000 share allotment. Okay, extra money which was adjusted towards allotment money. Okay, so excess number of excess amount of application is 20,000. So how many number of shares were actually allotted? 20,000 number of shares were actually allotted. Okay, so divide that amount. Okay, divide this 20,000, I mean this amount. Okay, divide this amount by number of shares that is actually allotted. How much you will get? You will get rupees 1. Okay, so what is the actual allotment money? Read the question. It is mentioned allotment is equals to rupees 4. So 4 minus 1, how much it is? Rupees 3. Okay, and by this formula we can know that how many number of shares were actually allotted to Vishal? 500. So 500 into this adjusted amount of allotment 3 will be how much? 1500. So this 1500 is your calls in arrear. This is the entry. So calls in arrear. Okay. So we passed these entries also. Okay. So this is how you come to know about this calls in arrear. Okay. 500 into 3. Okay. Which is your 1500. Okay. Ac according to this method also, you will get the same amount, 1500. Okay. And 58,500 is the actual money that is received on time of allotment. Okay. Uh, this one, see here. Okay. Don't worry about this method. I will explain you at the end, not now. Okay. Let me first complete the journal entries. Now, this call money was due. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, yeah. That was for allotment. So let me just, okay. So here you can see the calls in arrear is 1500. Okay. So now the call money will be made on equity, share call. Okay. So now the share call money will be due. So when the share call money is due, you have to make this entry. Share call account debit to equity share capital account. Okay. 20,000 into 3 rupees per share. Okay. But again, we have the calls in arrear because 500 number of shares which were actually allotted to Vishal, they failed to pay the share call money. So again, 500 into 3 will be calls in arrear on time of share call money. Okay. So this is your sixth entry. Okay. Now let us move on towards the last entry for forfeiture. So equity share capital account debit, calls in arrear and share forfeiture. Okay. So equity share capital account 500 into 10 because 500 number of shares were actually allotted to Vishal. Okay. And full value of the share was called up here. Okay. And there is no money due for premium because premium money is already received with application. So you don't have to worry about it. So calls in arrear. So calls in arrear will be 1500 plus 1500, 3000. Okay. And this 2000 is your share forfeiture money. Okay. So now you must be noticed, sorry, now you must have noticed here that share forfeiture money is 2000. And I already told you that share forfeiture money, it actually represents the amount of money that has been already paid. So it should be 500. This 500, okay, let me show you here. 500 into 3, it should be this way, right? But this is not the case. This is not the entire case here. Okay. So 500 into 3 is for the allotted number of shares plus extra number of shares for how much? Extra number of shares for 100. Okay. So on those 100 number of shares, you paid extra application money. So how much it will be? Now 2000. 500 into 3 will be 1500 plus 500. This will make 2000. So please remember this way. Okay. Now let me talk about this method, which I'll be using this again and again. Okay. I'll be using this method again and again. So as per this method, what you will do is that amount receivable on allotment. Okay. Total number of money 80,000. You can see here in the third entry, this 80,000 money. Okay. Less excess number of excess amount of money. Okay. So 80,000 minus 20,000, it will be 60,000. So 60,000 should be received. So now this 60,000 is written out here. Okay. 60,000. Okay. Now go back to this one. Okay. So after doing these two, okay, this two, okay, let me just use this highlighter. Okay. This one, let me use this highlighter one more time. Okay. So 20,000 and 60,000. Okay. After finding this, okay, this is your first task. Okay. Now the second, this is the last one, which is most important. Now allotment money is due from Vishal. Okay. Now always we know that allotment money is due always on allotted number of shares. So 500 is the allotted number of shares. Okay. So 500 into 4, that is allotment money. How much it should be? 2000. Now Vishal actually had applied for 600 number of shares. So out of 600, 500 shares were allotted. Now, excess application money that was already paid on those 100 number of shares are still with the company, right? So 100 into 5 will be how much? 500. Okay, so 2000 minus 500 will be how much? 1500. So this 1500 is actually the calls in area from Vishal. Okay, and 60,000 minus 1500 will be 58,500. That is the money that you received on time of allotment. Okay, so this is how you can approach this kind of questions using this kind of working note. Okay, or this kind of working note. Okay, be it anyway, it will be the same. Okay, please follow this because this is your main question. Okay, this is the main question that you will face in time of examination. Okay, this is your question of pro rata allotment plus forfeiture plus reissue of forfeited number of shares. Okay, but here in this question we summed up in forfeiture only. There was no reissue here. Okay, so maybe in further questions we will see about the reissue also. Okay,